You are not a thief. Thieves steal wallets, watches, silk scarves, and family silver. Thieves take what can be restored, bought again, or simply forgotten. But you steal what belongs only to God and to the worms. You steal peace. Your profession is not recorded in any tax ledger. Yet without you, great science, medicine itself, would have collapsed into medieval ignorance. You are a ghost of the London fog. You are the widow's nightmare. You are a resurrectionist. But that beautiful name was invented by newspapermen. You call yourself more simply a gravedigger. And tonight you face a hard shift because fresh merchandise went into the ground at exactly noon. London of the 1820s looks nothing like a picture from a tourist brochure. It is a reeking pit wrapped in a yellow, caustic fog where the smoke of coal furnaces mingles with the vapors of the Thames. You sit in the corner of a filthy pub in the Smithfield district. The fortune of war, your own private exchange. It doesn't smell of ale here. It smells of cheap gin and fear. Your hands, rough and ingrained with soil beneath the nails, clutch a pewter mug. You are waiting for the signal. Your partner, a twitchy fellow nicknamed Mole, has just returned from the parish churchyard. He was at the funeral. Not as a mourner, of course, though he played grief masterfully. He was there as a scout. He saw where the grave was dug. He noted the soil, clay or sand. And most importantly, he saw who was laid in the coffin. A young woman. Consumption. That is good merchandise. Doctors prefer the young. Their muscles and nerves show best unmarred by age. You finish your gin. It burns your throat, but it's necessary. You cannot work sober in your trade. If you begin to think about what you are doing, you will go mad. You must drown your conscience, turn a person into an object, a thing to be taken out of a box. You step outside. The cold cuts to the bone, but you are dressed warmly. A long coat with many inner pockets, thick trousers, sturdy boots. In the sack on your back are your tools. They differ from a gravedigger's tools. A gravedigger has an iron shovel. It rings when it strikes stone. Yours is wooden. It slips into the earth without a sound, like a knife into butter. Silence is your greatest ally. If the watchman hears you, at best you'll take a charge of salt shot in the back. At worst, a crowd will seize you, and a crowd hates men like you more than murderers. If townsfolk catch a resurrectionist, the police will not even have time to interfere. They will stone you, tear you apart, drown you in a drainage ditch. To them, you are a desecrator, a servant of the devil. They do not understand that the very surgeon who treats their children by day pays you in gold by night to bring him material for study. You approach the cemetery wall. There is no moon. That is good fortune. Darkness is your shelter. Mole gives you a boost, and you haul yourself over the cold stone, landing softly on the damp grass. The smell. You would know it among 1,000 others. A mixture of rotting leaves, wet earth, and the sickly sweet hint of decay. This is your office. You quickly find the right grave. The soil is still loose, not yet settled. That will save you strength. But you cannot relax. Relatives often set traps. Sometimes they mix shards of glass into the soil so you'll shred your hands. Sometimes they rig cemetery guns, crude spring guns that fire if a tripwire is disturbed. You carefully probe the ground ahead with a stick. Clear. The work begins. You do not dig up the entire grave. That is a novice's mistake. Why move cubic yards of earth when you need only the body? You use the method that you professionals call the burrow. You dig a narrow, square shaft at the head of the grave, directly above where the dead woman's head lies. You work quickly, rhythmically. Your partner does not pile the soil in a heap, but spreads it carefully onto a laid-out tarpaulin. That is important. When you leave, you must refill everything so that not a single blade of grass appears disturbed. If the relatives see signs of tampering, they will raise an outcry, and that spot will be lost to business. After half an hour, the shovel strikes wood. The sound is dull. You've reached it. Now comes the hardest part. You take a crowbar and pry at the coffin lid. It cracks under the weight of the earth, but it gives way. You need to open only the upper third. From the black gap, a stench bursts forth. The gases that have built up inside rush out. You turn your head, hold your breath. You can never grow used to it, not even after years. Now the mechanics. You lower a rope with a hook into the shaft. Or if it's shallow enough, you climb down yourself. You slip the rope beneath the corpse's arms or loop it around the neck. It's crude, but effective. Together with mole, you begin to pull. There's an unpleasant sucking sound, the vacuum releasing its prize. The body emerges from the coffin, folding in on itself like a rag doll. You drag it up to the surface and lay it on the grass. Moonlight falls across the young woman's pale face. Her eyes are open, her mouth twisted, but you have no time to look. The legal part of your crime begins. You take out a knife and cut through the shroud, the white burial garment. You strip it from the body and throw it back into the grave. Why? It's a subtlety of English law. If you take the body together with the clothing, it counts as theft of property, and you could be sent to penal servitude in Australia, or hanged. But the body itself belongs to no one under the law. A corpse is not property. If you steal only the cadaver, it is merely a minor offense, a fine or a few months in prison. So you leave the dead their last possessions, but you take their flesh. The naked, cold, slick body you stuff into a coarse sack, forcing the knees up to the chin so it takes less space. Now you must erase the traces. You fill in the shaft, tamp the earth down, carefully lay the turf back into place. In an hour, it will look as though no one has been there. You heave the sack over the wall, where a cart is already waiting. The horse grows restless, catching the scent of death, but the driver keeps a firm grip on the reins. And so you ride through the night streets of London. Your path leads to the back door of one of the famous medical schools, perhaps to Sir Astley Cooper, or to Robert Knox himself. By day, these gentlemen lecture on humanism and anatomy. By night, asking no questions, they open the creaking basement doors and count out coins. A knock at the door, the agreed signal. The door cracks open, and a surgeon's assistant looks at you. He wears a clean apron, but his hands know the smell of formalin just as well. You carry the sack inside. The assistant spills its contents onto a stone table. He inspects the merchandise. Fresh, first rate. No signs of decay, no damage from the shovel. He nods. You receive your payment. 10 guineas, a fortune. A miner would work half a year for that. You earned it in 3 hours. That is why you are here. That is why you endure the stench and the risk. Greed. A gold rush built on bones. You feel the weight of the coins in your pocket, and for a moment, you think yourself king of life. You can buy the finest drink, the most expensive woman in the brothel, new clothes. But you know the money is cursed. It will vanish as quickly as it came, slipping through your fingers like graveyard soil. But not everything always goes so smoothly. You remember last week, digging in a pauper's cemetery, when your competitors, an Irish gang, spotted you. A fight broke out right among the gravestones. Shovels and knives were put to use. You took a blow from a shovel handle to the head, and your ears are still ringing. It's a war for territory. There are not enough corpses. Medicine is advancing too quickly. There are too many students and too few hanged men. Demand does not only create supply, it breeds violence. Some of your colleagues no longer wish to wait for someone to die a natural death. You've heard the whispers in the pubs. The names Burke and Hare sound like a nightmare. They did not dig up graves. They made the dead themselves. They strangled lodgers in their boarding house and sold the still warm bodies to doctors. You despise them. You consider yourself an honest laborer. You take only what no one needs anymore. But deep inside, you understand how thin the line is. If someone offered you 50 guineas for a very fresh specimen, would you refuse? There is another danger: your own flesh. You are in constant contact with the poison of death, cadaverous contamination. One scratch, one cut from a splintered bone or a coffin nail, and your hand will swell, blacken, and you will burn with fever for 3 days before you die. You have seen how your friends died. They rotted alive, screaming in agony, and not one of the surgeons to whom they had supplied bodies came to treat them. To the doctors, you are expendable. Filthy tools, thrown away when they break. You wear gloves. You wash your hands in vinegar. But the smell has soaked into your skin forever. Even the dogs in the street growl at you. Women turn away. You become an outcast. Your only company is ghouls like yourself. Sometimes, when business is slow, you deal in trifles. Teeth. Wealthy people will pay insane sums for dentures, and the best teeth are those of the dead, especially young soldiers or healthy men. You pull them out with pliers right there in the graveyard, stuffing them into your pockets. Waterloo teeth, the dentists call them, hinting that they were taken from the heroes of the battle. But more often than not, they are the teeth of paupers who died of typhus. You sell them by the sack. It disgusts even you. But gin does not buy itself. You return home at dawn. Your room is a damp little garret. You hide the money beneath a loose floorboard. You try to wash the grime from your body, but the water in the basin turns black at once. You lie down on a straw mattress. You close your eyes, but sleep will not come. The face of the young woman stands before you. It seems to you that she is watching from the corner of the room. Do you know what they are doing to her now? Her body lies on a dissecting table. Students in aprons smoke pipes to blunt the smell and laugh at the professor's jokes, while a scalpel opens her ribcage. They call it science. They say it is for the good of humanity. To learn how to heal the living, one must study the dead. And there is truth in that. You are the foundation of this science. Without your dirty hands, without your nightly labor, great surgeons would not know how the heart is arranged or where the appendix lies. You are a secret hero of progress. But the thought brings little comfort when you wake in a cold sweat from nightmares in which the dead clutch your legs and drag you down into their pit. You drink. You drink heavily. Your liver decays faster than the bodies in the ground. You age early. At 30, you look 50. Your back is bent. Your hands tremble. You know how it will end. One day you will make a mistake. Either the watchman will shoot you, or you will catch an infection, or your rivals will betray you, and you will die poor, drunk, and alone. The irony of your fate will be absolute. With no family and no money left for burial, the parish will claim your body. By law, as an unclaimed corpse, where will you be sent? That's right, to the anatomical theater. They will lay you on the very same stone table onto which you dumped others for years. Your former client, the professor, will look at your face, perhaps even recognize it, smirk, and say to his students, "Gentlemen, here we have an excellent example of a drunkard's liver and occupational deformation of the joints. You will serve science even after death. You will be cut open, taken apart. Your bones will be boiled clean and wired together to make a skeleton for a cabinet. You will become a teaching specimen. But for now you are alive. The night still hides your deeds. The earth is still soft. You finish the last of the gin, take up your wooden shovel, and step into the fog. The city sleeps, but death never rests. Tomorrow brings another day, another funeral, another order. You are a grave robber. You are the one who turns the hourglass of life upside down to shake the gold from it. And that is your whole existence: dirt, fear, money, and endless night. Subscribe to the channel if you want to learn even more about the dark side of history that textbooks keep silent about. Look into the abyss through the eyes of a warrior. Before the abyss looks back at you.